feel like this video is all over the place. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Ruffalo Reads. Today I have a really exciting video for you. It's a collab with Cheyenne over from That Tall Book Girl. So we are doing an audiobook collab. So if you don't know, I absolutely love listening to audiobooks. I've actually been listening to audiobooks for so long. I am a working full-time mom of 2 that are under the age of 6. So I'm a busy girly. I am also in the full-fledged swing of planning my wedding, trying to lose weight. You know, life is just always so many different things coming at you. So audiobooks are great because I can clean my house and listen. I can get some chores done. I can go grocery shopping. Like, you haven't gone shopping without listening to an audiobook, like, get on it. Seriously, it's amazing. I also have really found recently that I love listening while I also am reading. That really helps me to like get it all in, I guess you could say. But before we dive all into audiobooks and like my favorite narrators and all that jazz, I just wanted to say that I started watching Cheyenne's channel, That Tall Book Girl. I want to say like really close to when she had first started it. And at that point, I was definitely not a booktuber or a bookstagrammer. I think I might have started a bookstagram, but I like didn't know what to do. So I was just like, okay. By the way, if you can hear like stomping or scurrying or yelling, my kids and my fiance are home, so don't mind that. Trying to get this in when I can. So anyways, I started watching her channel really close to when she first started it, and I fell in love with her and her vibe and her energy in her videos really like right off the bat. She just has such a fiery personality. She is like the sweetest person. She has a heart of gold. Her videos are so just, she has such great recommendations. She's always pumping out so many videos and reading so many great books, and she's put me on to authors that I have never heard of and authors that I love. Like a prime example would be Julie Ann. Literally one of my all-time favorite books is by her now, so I credit that to Cheyenne. I just love her. Like if I ever have a question or if I ever feel like nervous about something and I reached out to her, she is so sweet and eager and willing to help and answer and like involve you. So I just want to say that I love that we have people like Cheyenne in this community that make you feel welcome and like your voice matters, and just people that are just good people. Like she is also a mom of some boys, so she knows how to, you know, get down and dirty. Yeah, so if for some crazy reason you're not already subscribed to Cheyenne's channel, please go over, watch her video, subscribe to her channel, go to her Instagram. She's always posting. She's amazing. I love her. Please go subscribe to her. Now we can get into the audiobook. So, all right, I wanted to start this off by just talking a little bit about audiobooks and why I love them so much before I get into the narrators that I chose and why I love them or why they stand out to me. So for me, like I said kind of in the beginning of the video, is audiobooks are great for busy people, which in 2023, I'm assuming is literally everybody. We're all always busy. And yes, I like to, you know, wake up early and sit outside and hold a book in my hands or a Kindle and actually read. And yes, I would love to, you know, sit in bed and read a real book. But the reality is we're going most of the entire day. And without audiobooks, there is literally no way that I could read nearly as much as I do. I mean, my daughter is 2. I love her to death, but she is clingy. She wants to be on me. She's very needy. It's a lot. So there's no way that I can be sitting there reading and actually retaining what I'm reading in that situation. So that's what audiobooks are great for that. And also, I know we have this stupid thing that goes around is like listening to audiobooks isn't reading. Yes, it is. That's ridiculous to say. You're still consuming the media, I guess, the art, if you will. You're still consuming it. And however you want to consume it is how you want to consume it. You're still reading it. You're reading it. There are people who can't physically read. And we can't sit there and say, well, you're not reading because you're listening to an audiobook. Like let's not bring that up. That's just not a thing. You are reading, so feel proud. Also, audiobooks add a layer to reading that is exciting. It makes it more interactive at times. It can bring the story to life. And this is obviously with great narrators. So if the narrator is really good, they can really bring you in. Sometimes there's sound effects that the narrator does themselves. And this really, like I said, brings the story to life. Like I read a thriller the one time where there was like car backfires and gunshots ringing out and people screaming. It wasn't like you're reading like, oh, people are screaming. It was like, you hear people screaming. So especially too, if you're listening and reading and you're reading that and you're hearing that as well, it really like nails it home of the story of like what's going on in the story and really engages you. On the flip side, if you aren't connecting with a narrator, if you find their voice annoying or if, they're not enunciating well enough for you, it can bring a story down. So that's why I think this list is kind of cool because it shows you which narrators stand out to me that are easy to follow, that bring the story to life, that, basically just do a great job at narrating. So I think that any one of these people that I'm going to talk about, if you listen to one of their audiobooks, I am sure that most, if not all of you, will enjoy it. And also want to say that, some people just don't like audiobooks. Some people, like my fiance, honestly, have attention deficit and they cannot listen and retain. And I understand that. I think that everybody hopefully understands that. Audiobooks aren't for everybody. Some people can drive in the car and listen to audiobooks and totally, get it. Other people, it's like, what did you hear 5 seconds ago? They don't know. And that would be my fiance. So yeah, everybody just do what you want and what feels great. And that's amazing. So if you are a lover of audiobooks, if you want to try audiobooks, if you just are here because you just want to see if we have some matching favorites, then let's get into it. So let's start with one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and it's a man. His name is Sebastian York. So for my audiobook people, if you have not for some reason heard of the name Sebastian York, I'm honestly shocked. I'm sure that this is on literally probably everybody's list if you read romance and listen to romances. He has just such a sexy voice. He is so unique. He brings characters to life. He speaks eloquently. He just has like this rough, gritty, like just sexy voice. So I just wanted to point out some of the books that he's done, and some of them have been in Catherine Cowell's Tattered and Torn series, which if you don't know is one of my all-time favorite series. I'm actually in the middle of the 4th book right now, I think. Like I've literally never flown through a series this fast. Like I still have to finish the Off-Campus series. I think I've read the first 3 books and that's over a year. This has been since January or yeah, since Christmas that I've read all 4 now. So yeah, Sebastian York, he does Hidden Waters, which I'll put here. It's the book number 3 and it's with Addie. So I think Addie and Beck, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, but it's amazing. He just does such a great job, like I said. And now all of these people have narrated, all of these people on my list anyway, have narrated multiple books. So another very popular, very prominent book from last year, I guess you could say, is Flawless by Elsie Silver. He also narrated that one and he plays this, gruff, hot cowboy. So I'm not going to go into all the books that these different audiobook narrators have done, but I'm just going to show a few that I've read that I've loved that they've been in. I am going to play for you a little clip from Sebastian York, and I have this right now on 1.3 speed, so I hope that that's okay.
Her response is to reach for, I guess you weren't lying about being able to ride.
Can hear he has a kind of grovelly, gritty, rough, very hot voice. It's nice. So yeah, he's just great. I think he's a staple in the romance audiobook community. He just does a really great job. So if you have yet to listen to an audiobook starring Sebastian York, then I suggest you seek one out. And if you haven't read Flawless, then that would be a great one to go for because it's just so good. All right, we went from like a very prominent one to a very much smaller one. This person is on my list because she has narrated my favorite Christmas romance that I think I've ever read. And you know, that's saying a lot because I also just don't find that I love Christmas romances very much. Like, I like watching the Christmas movies. Reading the Christmas books sometimes it's like, okay, like this is a bit boring. But Pippa Jane has the calmest, most eloquent, sweet, just beautiful voices that brings you in. I feel like her name sounds like British or something, but she's not. Okay, so like I was saying, her voice is just very calming and stuff. I want to play for you a little snippet so you can hear their voices. So I'm gonna start, I'll play that right now for you. And I have my laptop.
I should have ended it right there. I know better. He had a hamster bobblehead on his dash, for God's sake. I'm lucky I wasn't murdered.
So I hope you can tell from that little snippet, she just has such a eloquent, calm voice. I don't know another way to put it, but she's just, like I said, I feel like from her name you think that she's like British or something, but she's not. But she's just one of those people I feel like that you see that just is like very proper. And I feel like her tone very much matches B.K. Borison's like style of writing, because she writes, if you've never read one of her books, she writes very intentionally, I'd say. And if you watched I cannot remember who did an author interview. I want to say it was Jess from Peace Love Books, but that might be wrong. That did an author interview with B.K. Borison, and if you watch that and hear the way that she speaks, she's just very much like calm, intentional, intelligent. Like, that's how her books come across as well, and that's how this narrator comes across to me. So I have read another narrator that sounds somewhat similar, but I just think that Pippa Jane brings something fresh to the table and is just perfect for these types of stories. So yeah, I also wanted to add in, I didn't say this at the beginning, that in most apps and stuff, you can choose your speed. So this is sometimes like a hot topic, because I know I've heard people be like, oh, like you're listening at this times speed, like you can't even hear what they're saying, you like probably aren't even paying attention to get the information and whatnot, and it's ridiculous. Let people listen to the speed they want to listen to. Different apps will allow different maximums. So some apps, I don't know, will go only up to like, let's just say 2 times speed. Some will go up to 3 times speed. Libby is really great for audiobooks because they, first of all, they let you go up to a higher speed. They also show you what percent you're on. So if you want to like update Goodreads, like I like to do, I like to update as I'm reading. Like, you know, it just feels like you're progressing. It feels like you're making progress. And I don't know, it just helps me, like, I don't know, track myself, I guess, track my reading. So that's really nice. That Libby app is through the library. So you just download the app, you get like kind of a virtual library card, and then you can request or borrow different audiobooks, and you have a certain time frame that you can listen to them and then return them. So there's also, I'm sorry if this video is all over the place. I had written out all these notes and left them in my desk at work. So, and I'm trying to get this video up for Friday. So we're working with what we're working with. So right now, I know this is kind of disjointed. So I just talked about 2 audiobook narrators, but right now we're going to pause and talk about the apps and what speed. So I personally prefer to listen to 2 times speed. I absolutely cannot listen to the speed that it has because it is way too slow. It sounds like they're like trudging through the sand or something. Like, it's just way too slow. I cannot do it. And I don't know if that's because I like talk fast myself. I'm not sure. But yeah, I definitely have to listen to 2 times speed. If it is like a fantasy, or, which I rarely read, but if it's a fantasy or something like that, I will knock it down to like 1.75. But that's really my area, 1.75 or 2. At one point I had Audible, which is through Amazon, which the great and annoying thing about Audible is they will have most all of these indie books. I had audiobooks as well. They have very limited selection, I would say, of these more indie books. There's also Libby, like I said, which I always have because, I mean, why wouldn't you download a free audiobook to listen to? I love that. I love Libby. I get most of my thriller thrillers through Libby because, like I said, they're not going to have these these indie published romances and stuff on Libby. Not on my Libby anyway. It's different for each area that you're in. So like I'm in Pittsburgh. If you're in like, you know, Atlanta, it's going to be different. If you're in Nashville or wherever you are, it's going to be different. There's also Libro FM, which I had for a while. It's whatever. There's Hoopla and stuff. I haven't tried Hoopla. I know there's another one that I'm blanking on as well, but I can't think of it. I don't know if maybe Cheyenne will mention it in her video, but yeah, there's all kinds of different apps. So I actually just canceled some of mine because it was just ridiculous. I don't need Audible, audiobooks, all this stuff. Like, I was like, I need to calm down. So I am keeping Audible because, like I said, it's really the easiest way to be able to listen to these more indie published. And actually, Elsie Silver just released her audiobooks through Audible. So that's really awesome. So I am going to listen to Heartless soon. So I can't wait. Anyways, yeah, you can choose your speed, whichever works for you. Choose which app works for you. I would always recommend Libby because it's the library. Of course, support your local library and get books. Libro FM supports your local bookstore. So that's also nice. But I would say, you know, obviously it's probably more limited on what they have to offer. And then audiobooks, it's like, I wouldn't not recommend them. I just don't think that they have as much of a availability as Audible, unfortunately. But yeah, all right. So I want to show some of the books that Pippa Jane has narrated. And honestly, that's really just that series by B.K. Borison. She has done some others. I don't know what they are, but I'll show you Love Light Farms, In the Weeds, and Mixed Signals. So those are the books from her that I, you know, love her narration for. Next audiobook narrator I want to discuss or bring up is Andi Arndt. It's A-R-N-D-T. And she has narrated a couple of my favorites. One of them is one from Corinne Michaels that I read last summer and literally was blown away, obsessed with. It was probably one of my first like romantic suspense type books. Has the amnesia trope, which I am a sucker for. I absolutely love the amnesia trope. It was called Help Me Remember. So she's narrated actually a bunch of Corinne Michaels books, which is really cool. She has an extensive list of books that she has narrated. So it is a little overwhelming if you search her name. She's also narrated some Emma Chase. Funnily enough, she's narrated Frozen, book 1. That's funny. She's narrated some Penelope Ward, Vi Keeland, so Helena Hunting, J.T. Geisinger. So a bunch of kind of indie published romances. So you kind of tend to hear her a lot. So, and then I don't know if this is going to sound right. So if this is like offensive for some reason, I'm not meaning it as that. I'm just meaning, okay, let me just say it. So I feel like her voice is very much like a white, like American girl. Like she just sounds like, you know, your typical girl from America, which works for the right books. Like it worked for Help Me Remember because, you know, it's like this blonde chick and she's just waking up from like being bonked over the head. It just works for the books that it works for. So let me play you a sample from hers before I just ramble on.
So you're not off conquering some unknown horror story? He grins. If I were, I would be much better than I am now. I know you can't tell me.
So some audiobook narrators, some audiobooks will be broken up with the woman's chapters are narrated by the woman and then the man's chapters are narrated by a man. And I believe that this is how Help Me Remember is, and a lot of them are like that. But when they're in their perspective chapters or whatever, let's say we're in the female character's chapter, she will act out his voice in her characters. He will act out her voice in his chapters. So sometimes, depending on the narrator, that can get ridiculous. And some books take it to another level where they have every single, like if he says something, it's the guy. If she says something, it's her. No matter the chapter. And that is nice if it's done well, because sometimes it can just get a little overcomplicated, I guess. But when we have a narrator that can't do a decent enough kind of impression of the opposite sex's voice, it's rough. It's really rough. It can really take you out. It can really make you just sit there and be like, really? Like, it's just, it's a lot. But when they're good, like, I feel like she just did that guy's voice pretty good.
Life. But can you tell me about yours? He smiles softly. There's not much to say.
Like,
I
you
get
know,
that.
she says it well enough. It doesn't sound like outrageous. Like some of them you'll find can. So aside from that Corinne Michaels that she did, she also did one of my favorite audiobooks that I've read, which really surprised me because it was a free Audible original, which is really cool that Audible does that. They have like each month a different list of books that you can listen to for free. You know, a lot of months it's like, I don't like care about any of those. And some months it's like, oh, okay. Like I know the month of Christmas, they had Devney Perry, Willa Nash's whole novella series of Christmas books for free. So that was really nice. But the one I'm talking about is Repeat by Kylie Scott. And it's set in Portland, Maine, which I'm from Maine. And it has a hot tattoo artist who's also a biker. It was just super good and super cute, and Andi Arndt narrated that. All right, so now I have another male narrator. He's one of my absolute favorites, and he did narrate Kennedy Ryan's Before I Let Go, and he is Wesley Siobhan. His voice is like just like liquid honey. Like it's just rich and beautiful and intense and just sexy and just powerful. He is obviously a Black narrator, so I feel like the main male character for Kennedy Ryan's book Before I Let Go, he was absolutely perfect for that role. He brought that character to life. He gave that character so much emotion, and he just helped absolutely bring that story to life, and he's amazing. So he has narrated some Kennedy Ryan books. He also has narrated her new, I think it's a novella called Coming Home. It's an Audible original, if I'm not mistaken. He's narrated some Christina C. Jones, which I really want to read some of her books. She is on my list of authors that I need to read. Yeah, so he's been in a lot of Christina C. Jones, Kennedy Ryan. I will play you a sample of his.
In the middle of the journey of our life, I found myself within a dark woods where the straight way was lost. Dante Alighieri, Inferno.
So as you can hear, I hope, he's very eloquent. He enunciates very well. He just has like this rattle in his voice that just works. Like it just sounds so great, and I absolutely adore him, and I could honestly listen to his voice all day. Like, yes. All right, another amazing Black female narrator. She also narrates in Before I Let Go, but she has also narrated in other books that I've loved, like Real, which is also by Kennedy Ryan, but she's done Alexandria House before. She's done Christina C. Jones. She's done a Tay Monet book. She's just very much out there, and her voice is beautiful. So Jakobi Diem, and I hope that I'm saying her name correctly. She, of anyone I think on this list, enunciates in such a way that stands out in your mind and will last with you. It's very beautiful. I want to play you a clip. This is from a book that I have not read yet, but this was the best clip that I could find as of right now. So I want to play it for you.
Of the car and helped her out. Once on the side, he didn't let her hand go, and she allowed him to pull her along toward the store. Africa was grateful the intense moment between them passed.
So if you can hear, she's very careful, deliberate. She brings a lot of passion in her voice as well. It's just a delight to listen to. So she's really a really great Black female narrator to find and listen to. Honestly, if you haven't listened to a Kennedy Ryan, then I highly recommend. She has Wesley Siobhan and Jakobi Diem on a lot of her books, or a few of them. Yeah, and I just love their voices together. They sound like they just mesh so well, and it's a delight to listen to. So I highly recommend. And all right, guys, so without going into any more, like I could say like Julia Wayland, obviously she's one of the most popular ones. There's a few other that come to my mind, like Ava Erickson. I can't really think of much more right now, but all that to say, this was such a fun collab to do. I am so happy that Cheyenne asked me to collab with her. It really just put the year off on such a positive note. note. I absolutely love Cheyenne, like I said. Please go subscribe to her. She is such a sweetheart and just so much fun. With that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope that you gained something from this kind of audiobook exploration with me, if you will. I hope that you know, explore it a little. See what you like, see what you don't like, see if you can do audiobooks or not. Because honestly, it's so great to just be able to do a puzzle or play a game with your significant other, maybe listen in the car, listen while you grocery shop. You just feel so productive. You feel like you're having a great time, even when you're, you know, changing a diaper or folding 1,000,000 pounds of laundry. Like, it's nice. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye guys.